Happy Lundi Gras, everybody. I thought I'd do a voiceover for this particular junk journal flip through because it is my Louisiana junk journal. Long time in the making, and many, many pieces of what you will see in this journal came from a lot of my crafty friends who gifted me in Happy Mail various pieces of Louisiana ephemera. So, special shout out to that. You'll see in the front cover here a vintage photo that came from one of my crafty friends, but it is a tugboat on the bayou. And if you know anything about Louisiana, there's a lot of tugboat traffic on the Mississippi down here. Don's Seafood Hut is a restaurant local to my area, which is the Lafayette area, which is here in what we call Acadiana. Another crafty friend sent this Louisiana flashcard. The ledger paper that you see there is actually from a local friend of mine. Her name is Marcy. This is from the early 1800s, and we did a swap for that ledger paper. And I'm so glad to have met her. So glad to have met her. Trappy's is a local, of course, local hot sauce here. Shout out to Mardi Gras on that visual. And then, of course, you can't hardly talk about Louisiana without talking about Tabasco. Those are some vintage flashcards too. Pelican is our state bird. And again, that was from a in a Happy Mail from a crafty friend of mine. You're going to see here, this is a vintage sheet that I used for that paper clip tie there. Two basic recipes, and then this is a nod specifically to the sugarcane farmers here in our area who work tremendously hard. Crawfish is not the only crop that we have here in Louisiana. The Trinity refers to the Holy Trinity, which we use in cooking. We'll talk more about that in a minute. That clay bisque fleur-de-lis came from another crafty friend in Happy Mail. Yeah, this book is just chock full of love. This is shout out to Community Coffee, which is our local coffee here, and they do have several coffee shops throughout the state. Fleur de lis, which is a symbol that I have used to decorate in my own home, but it is more involved than just the Saints symbol for their football team. The Raging Cajuns are our local university here, University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And this postcard is, again, from a Happy Mail from my crafty friends. You'll see red beans. I want to talk a moment about red beans, but this is our Bro Bridge is a local crawfish festival here. It's been going on for decades, decades. Red beans and rice are made here on Monday, every Monday. A lot of people make red beans on Mondays, and the tradition goes that the back in the early 1800s when the settlers came, well, I say 1800s, it might not have been 1800s, but back early on when the settlers were exiled from Nova Scotia and they came here, the women who had to do their laundry and all their chores on Mondays, they would put on a pot of red beans and rice for their Monday dinner. So that's tradition has carried on throughout a lot of local businesses and hospitals, and just a lot of local people still eat red beans and rice every Monday. Let's see, this is the Evangeline House in St. Martinville. It is a historic house on the historic registry. This making groceries is a card game, but it's also a saying, a Cajun saying, making groceries. A lot of old Cajun folks still say that today. And young people say making groceries instead of going to the grocery store. They are making groceries. That's what they, and that's the term that they use. It's a beautiful wallpaper there. And then the magnolia there. And that paper there is from a crafty friend of mine. This is, again, that Louisiana Purchase paper there. That little shot is from a crafty friend. Celery, onion, and bell pepper. That is, in fact, what they call the Holy Trinity in our cooking because almost everything that we cook in Louisiana recipes starts with the Holy Trinity. Clovis crawfish. Mary Alice Fontenot. Mary Alice Fontenot is an institution here. She's an author and an illustrator that wrote the Clovis Crawfish series, but she also wrote one of my kids and my favorite books. It's called Crawfish Man. He was a superhero in children's literature that Mary Alice Fontenot created, and we just loved him. We just loved him. He would his little shtick was Spanish, let's see, how did it go? Spanish moss in my hand turned me into crawfish man. And he would go around as a superhero saving the day. The Pelican State, Louisiana is known as the Pelican State, if you didn't know. Let's see, what do we have here? Oh, this is from another children's, I forget the name of this book, but it was pretty interesting. And I'm going to show you some of the dialect that they use in this book is Cajun dialect. Prejean's restaurant here in the Acadiana area is no longer, but it was an institution for many, many years. People loved Prejean's restaurant. It was recently bought out in the past few years by a lovely family, and they've done a good job. They have done a good job with it. These, I happened to come across this Raging Cajun football book with that year's team's autographs. The little tabs that you see here are all the front covers of very famous in this area Cajun cookbooks. If you go into a Cajun household today, you will probably find a River Road Cajun cookbook, a Tooth Sweet cookbook. There are a couple of others that just people will have in their homes, and they rarely get rid of them. That's a wallpaper there, an embossed fleur-de-lis wallpaper, again from a crafty friend in Happy Mail. This is from Happy Mail. This was from a crafty friend. I'm telling you, this is just full of memories and love for me. Love every bit of it. Crawfish mac and cheese from Rufino's in Baton Rouge. I have never been to Rufino's. I have had crawfish mac and cheese, and it is delicious. That shot of that, or that illustration of that magnolia, I thought was just so beautiful. And here we come to the actual Coeur de Mardi Gras, which is the country Mardi Gras. It is not a redneck Mardi Gras, which I've seen. Recently, I saw an influencer talk about the redneck Mardi Gras. It is not a redneck Mardi Gras. So if you've seen that flying around social media, it is not redneck. It is a traditional Mardi Gras steeped in a lot of history and a lot of tradition. It is a beautiful thing to see, and you should, if you get a chance, try to experience Coeur de Mardi Gras. Acadiana is the area in which I live, and it encompasses, I thought 13 parishes. I may be wrong on that count though, but it is local here to South Central Louisiana. There's some more of that paper that came in a Happy Mail. And that is just a lovely rendition for the Crawfish Festival. Again, happening in Breaux Bridge every year. Every year should be coming up. We're coming into crawfish season. I thought it was very good. I thought it was really neat to go ahead and try and release this video on what we refer to as Lundi Gras. And for those of you who don't know, Lundi Gras is basically the Monday before Fat Tuesday, which is Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras translates into the English of Fat Tuesday. Park Hardy is where the Crawfish Festival is held every year. I've never been to the Crawfish Festival, I'll be honest with you, but it's a big one. It's a big one. See, there's the Toot Sweet cookbook that you'll find in a lot of local households here. And this is basically what Coeur de Mardi Gras winds up being, a big gumbo, a fado dough, and a fado dough is a party. It's a Cajun party coming to the fado dough. I'll have to look up the English translation and put it up here for you. There's the Coeur de Mardi Gras. The Coeur de Mardi Gras, they wear costumes in the Coeur de Mardi Gras because that is their kind of nod. I'm going to say nod because it's really a rebellious type thing, but it's a nod to the royal attire that the kings and queens and courts wear, but it's the country version. It's their version. They even have, like, they locally they have an auction, like an auction where they auction off all these Coeur de Mardi Gras costumes, and they're handmade and they're crazy and they're wild and they don't make sense, and it's just beautiful, and all the money, the proceeds go to charity. It's a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. That's why I say if you get a chance to experience Coeur de Mardi Gras, I'd really encourage you to do that. This was my attempt at a shaker card. So that was my my very first shaker card. I thought it came out pretty good. I don't know if I would have used that bright yellow again, but this Holy Trinity here. This is a lovely portrait illustration. I hope to find that and hang that in my house one day. I'm really hoping to find that. This is just my nod to New Orleans. There, it was a really beautiful rendition. So. But again, New Orleans is different than Acadiana, and I hope to convey that throughout my YouTube channel. We are very different here. They are their own unique place, and they're lovely. I'm not saying they're not, but Acadiana is very different than New Orleans, just as Southern Louisiana and Northern Louisiana are very different. Three signatures in this book. It was really a very fun make. The actual cover came from a crafty friend also. So anyway, thank you guys for coming along to this voiceover that went a little long, but I do appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that whatever it is you get to do today, it is as much fun as I had making my Louisiana journal. Thanks, guys. We'll chat soon.